What are these 6 ways to stop someone from encroaching into your land by getting an injunction order in court? My name is Ramana Reddy and I'm a lawyer from Hyderabad. The problem that I am routinely seeing these days is that a lot of people own property, but there is some third party who's trying to interfere with their possession. So, what happens is people own property, they don't know their rights. There is the sharp increase in land prices, and there is some third party who wants to take advantage of the situation, and they want to come and harass people and say that, or just to come and interfere with your possession of the property and make sure that you come forward for some kind of settlement. Now, this is the problem that we will be talking about today. Is if you own property and if somebody is trying to interfere with your possession of the property, what do you do in such a scenario? Now, the first thing to understand is that you need to categorize two things separately. The first thing is the title to a property. So, for example, a property may be in your name. There may be a sale deed in your name. There may be a gift deed in your name. That means you have the title to the property. Now, the second category that you need to understand, even before you think of getting an injunction order, is the question of possession. Is that, okay, there is a sale deed in your name, but who is in actual physical possession of the land? Are you in physical possession of the land? So, in a suit for injunction, the court will not undertake an elaborate inquiry into who is the owner of the property. It will only look at prima facie, at a high level, who is the owner of the property. And more importantly, the court is going to focus on who is in possession of the property. So, to summarize this, I guess, before I move forward, a suit for injunction is filed in a case where you are the owner of the property and you are in possession of the property, and there is a third party who is trying to interfere with your possession. That is the classic case where you need to file a suit for injunction, where the court will not elaborately look at the title as to who is the owner of the property. The court will only look at who is in actual physical possession of the property. I mean, it will look at who's the owner. You have to file your sale deed, but it will only look at it, on a prima facie basis. It is not going to get into a detailed inquiry about it. Now, if possession is the most important thing for a suit for injunction, then how do you show possession? Now, it's easy if it is a building. Now, let's say, for example, that you own 500 square yards somewhere in Hyderabad. There's a building on it. Somebody is trying to come and interfere with your possession, saying this property is mine. Now, in that case, you have the sale deed in your favor for the 500 square yards. You also have a building permission, most likely, for constructing the building. You have electricity bills, you have water bills, you have property tax receipts. All these things show that you are in actual physical possession of the land and the building. So to show possession in an injunction suit for a building is relatively more simpler. Where it starts to get a bit complicated is when the land on which you want to seek possession is vacant. So let's say, somewhere in, a nearby district in Hyderabad, let's say Sangareddy or wherever, you own, say, 1 acre land, and there's nothing on it. How do you show possession? Because there's no documentary proof to show that you're in possession. At best, you have the sale deed to the property, and that's it. You don't have any documents to say that I'm in physical possession. I mean, you don't have property tax receipts, you don't have an electricity connection, you don't have you don't have water connections. In that case, what do you do? If it's a vacant land, that's a special case. What happens is, in that case, the court will look into title. In the case of a vacant land, The rule is that possession follows title unless proved otherwise. So the court, if it's a vacant land, will look at your title documents, and based on the basis of that will come to some decision as to whether you are entitled to a suit, whether you are entitled to injunction or not. So that is as far as vacant land is concerned. The other thing, I think the other important thing to keep in mind is, let's say that you file, let's take the case of a building, right? So suppose you own 500 square yards in the city, there's a building on it. Now, somebody's trying to interfere with your property, you go to court and you file a suit for injunction. You say, here's my sale deed, here are all my property tax receipts, water bills, etc., etc. I'm in possession, he should not be interfering with my property. Now, let's say that the other side, or the guy who's trying to interfere with your property, he comes to court and he files an alternative set of documents to say that, look, he's not the owner of the property. In fact, the guy who sold to him actually sold to me, and there is some kind of double registration, or that he sold to me before that it was sold to him, and so on. So in other words, if the other side, the guy who's trying to interfere with your property, if he raises any questions of title, then in that case, you need to amend your suit, or you cannot just proceed as though it is still an injunction suit, because injunction suit is based on the premise that you are the owner of the property. And if somebody is actually challenging that in your suit for injunction, then you have two options. Either you amend the injunction suit and say that not only is he interfering, but he's also raising a cloud over my title. So, I am amending my case to say that, or to bring in the relevant facts to say this is how I got ownership, and this is the chain of title, and so on. Or you can just withdraw the case and file a fresh case to say that, I filed this case earlier, he's raising issue of title, so therefore I'm basically constrained to file a fresh case. So that is basically how a suit for injunction works. And most importantly, one thing, one tip or one bonus tip that I'd like to give you is there's so many properties, even when you're driving around, that are worth, I think, somewhere in crores now, and people don't even bother to erect a boundary wall. I mean, if you are the owner of such a valuable piece of land, at least take the time to put a boundary wall around the property, because if somebody comes and interferes with possession, as a lawyer, I'm going to defend you, but I am going to give you, an earful about how careless you are with your own property, and that you were asking for it. So to summarize everything, suit for injunction, there are two things that are important. One is title, one is possession. In a suit for injunction, the court will not look it will not undertake a detailed examination of the title. It will only look at who is in possession. To show possession, you can file your property tax receipts, water bills, electricity bills, so on. If it is a vacant land, then all you can do is file your sale deeds, gift deeds, and show title, and show that you're also in possession. I hope that was helpful. Thank you for watching.